know what health care plan you will be voting on today?
Nobody knows. I don't think. I've talked to all my Republican colleagues. They don't know either. So I think Mitch McConnell definitely knows what he's going to do in what direction. Maybe.
Why isn't he sharing it?
I don't know. I really don't know. Here's the thing in this nutshell. I will say this, Allison. If you're voting to proceed, because they're saying, hey, just get on the bill and we can fix everything. If you're voting to proceed, you're voting to repeal, because that's exactly what will happen. And that means we don't have a chance to fix it. And they're saying, well, Democrats are obstructionists. We're not obstructionists. I'm as moderate a centrist as you can get. But I know the only place to truly fix something is to go through the orderly process of the committee. Yeah. If you don't go to the committee, you can't get the expert witnesses in there. You can't get the facts. You can't debate it and find the best pathway forward. If it goes just like proceed and we'll fix everything if you get on the bill, and well, they control the amendments. They can basically shut off the amendment process.
Yeah.
They have so much, it's just not the right way to do it, and it has not gone through the orderly process. And we said, hey, put it back in the committee. The first vote we should take is recommit any bill they want to put forward into the committee process. That's the vote should be taken.
Well, look, it's not just Democrats that are feeling the way you are. Republicans are too. Your Republican counterpart in West Virginia, sure. Shelley Moore Capito, she's on the fence about this, about voting for something to repeal before you know what's going to replace it. And there was a Republican congressman, Blake Farenthold from Texas, who seems to be calling her out. He got the region that she's from wrong, but he seems to be targeting her among other female senators. Listen to this.
The fact that the Senate does not have the courage to do some of the things that every Republican in the Senate promised to do is just absolutely repugnant to me. If the problem, some of the people that are opposed to this, there are some female senators from the Northeast. If it was a guy from South Texas, I might ask him to step outside and settle this Aaron Burr style.
What do you think of that, Senator, number one? And is this the female senator's fault?
I'd be okay to step outside with him. If he wants to take all my people in West Virginia and throw them out in the cold, that's exactly. I'm glad that Shelley understands that our constituent base the same as I do. We have every demographic that's hit. It's not a perfect bill that we have. The Affordable Care Act is not a perfect piece of legislation. It needs repair. We both agreed that. We need to fix it. We need to try to get people healthier. We need to get people more accountable and responsible for their actions on the expansion. We need to protect and shore up the private market without collapsing. All these things can be done, Allison, but we've got to work together. They don't want to. And here's people like that making the claims they're making. That's type of rhetoric is so uncalled for in this body up here. We want to fix and repair things. And I'll work with Republicans, I'll work with liberals and conservatives, everybody. But the bottom line at the end of the day, did we have a healthier population? Was it more cost effective to have them healthier in a workforce than on welfare? How about the sympathy you have for the elderly Americans who've given us everything? How about those who have pre-existing conditions and high chronic illnesses? Don't we deserve some sympathy and compassion for them to have a healthy? I can't believe this process they're going through, and the whole, sometimes the hard and calculated rhetoric that we see coming from this. It's uncalled for. It truly is.
Senator, next topic. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He seems to have lost the confidence, I think it's fair to say, of the president. He is a friend of yours. Jeff Sessions is. You were the only Democrat who voted to confirm him. Does Jeff Sessions deserve this?
I just said, Jeff, do your job. You have to do your job. But the bottom line, everybody knows when you go and take a will and pleasure job. That means when you have a will and pleasure job that you come and you leave when the term of the person you're working for, which is the president, or in my case when I was governor, when I had will and pleasure, when my term was over, everybody left and new people came in. But when you lose the confidence and the president has a right to put his team together who he feels confident. I just would say if that's the direction they're going to go, the next person who has to go through the confirmation of the Senate is going to have a challenging time to make sure that they're going to adhere to the rule of law and not adhere to one person's wishes.
Yeah, we've heard that before this morning as well. Senator Joe Manchin, thank you very much. We'll obviously be following it very closely what happens on Capitol Hill today.
It's going to happen quick, Allison, you're sure.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Chris.
All right, if it's going to happen quick, as the senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, says, what's going to happen? Do the Republicans have 50 votes to proceed? Whatever that means. We're going to ask the man whose job it is to whip those votes, the Republican Senator John Cornyn, the whip of the Senate majority. Next.
Choose to go, to indulge your curiosity, explore a new road, to see where it takes you. Meet the leaders who change the game. No matter where you are, no matter what the currency, when you run the numbers, they may surprise you. But stay your course. You're on the path to success. CNN Money.
Erin Burnett out front. Stories that matter.
You've got the money and you've got the passion, but how do you actually make a difference?
From the people making headlines.
Did you and Donald Trump talk about his Muslim plan?
To wherever news breaks, Erin is there. One-on-one. In the field. And around the globe.
What makes you believe you can accomplish that sort of growth?
Erin Burnett out front. Weeknights 7 Eastern on CNN.
It is a big day today for the health care battle. There's going to be a procedural vote in the Senate, which is basically a vote deciding whether or not to proceed with debate on a bill in the Senate on health care. The Republicans have to have 50 votes to do it. It would sound like a low hurdle, but it isn't because of the unknown and all the politics surrounding the possibilities of health care. So let's talk to the majority whip in the Senate, Republican Senator John Cornyn. He's in charge of counting votes for the Republicans. It's good to have you on this important day, sir.
Thanks, Chris.
So, where do you stand with the math?
Well, if this were a normal situation, we would have 100 senators voting to get on this bill and begin the debate, because every senator will have an opportunity to offer amendments to improve the bill, and the Senate will be able to work its will. Unfortunately, this is not a normal time, and our Democratic colleagues are simply staying out of the debate, and even though they know that Obamacare has significant problems that need to be addressed. That's why Senator Shaheen, for example, from New Hampshire, offered bills that would pay billions of dollars to the insurance companies in order to stabilize the insurance market. We're willing to work to stabilize the markets, but we want reforms too, and that's what this bill gives us an opportunity to do.
Quick side note, can you ensure that the president won't pull those subsidies? Because if you're going to do a bill to shore up these markets, you need those subsidy payments. The president had played with the idea of pulling them to further destabilize the ACA. Do you think you could guarantee anyone you work with that you could stop him from doing that?
We all recognize that stabilizing the insurance markets is an important first step, but it's not the last step. And the president said if we pass a bill, he'll sign it. So I'm confident we can do that. Right now, as you know, there is some question about it because of the way that the bill, Obamacare, was passed, whether or not they're mandatory or simply discretionary. So if we were able to pass a bill, it would end the debate and help stabilize the market.
Your Democratic colleagues say that they're staying out of this vote today for a couple of reasons. That essentially it's a bait and switch. This will be a repeal vote. If you vote to proceed, you are therefore voting to repeal, because that's the only thing on the table. And the idea of amendments, you have the numbers so you can control what the amendments are, and you'd box the Democrats out, so they're avoiding it. What do you say?
I say that's not the case. under the budget reconciliation process, the so-called vote-a-rama, every senator has a right to have their amendment voted on. And we'll be voting on a number of different amendments being offered by Republicans, and I trust Democrats will offer some too, although I'm not sure they're actually interested in an outcome, in actually passing legislation. But every single senator, Democrats and Republicans, will have an opportunity to offer their amendment. And yes, we will vote on repeal in a 2-year transition. That's important to some of our members. Senator Portman and a number of the Medicaid expansion states have what they believe is a better solution than the status quo. They'll also offer that. And I think on balance, what this Better Care Act does is it improves the status quo, and a no vote is simply a vote to maintain the status quo, which I think we all recognize is unacceptable.
Why the rush? Why not do it the ordinary way of going into the committee, having the hearings, bringing in the testimony, and promulgating this policy the way you normally would?
Well, we've been debating it for 7 years, and unfortunately, health care has become partisan. That's really to the detriment of the country. We really need to get back to bipartisan health care legislating. But unfortunately, because of after 3 elections where our Democratic colleagues lost the majority in the White House, they lost the White House, the majority in both houses, they realized what an albatross that Obamacare has been for them at the ballot box. And so they're now kicking it over to us and saying, okay, see what you can do. Can you do better? If we can't do better, then we need to simply go home. But I believe that we can do better. It would be even better yet if our Democratic colleagues would work with us and settle the partisan nature of health care legislation. That really doesn't serve the best interests of the country. We need to get back to that.
Let me get your head on something else that's going on right now. What do you say to the president and his open attacks of his earliest Senate supporter, Jeff Sessions? He said he had a very weak position this morning. He should be going after Hillary Clinton, and he isn't. You know what he said in his New York Times interview, saying that Sessions had done the wrong thing, recusing himself. He's been beating up on his own. What's your message to the president about Jeff Sessions?
Well, I know Jeff Sessions well, and he's a good and honorable man, and I think he's doing what he believes he's obligated to do under the rules that govern attorney generals, and that in order to restore the credibility of the Department of Justice and the FBI, something we sorely need after the last administration, that he made the right decision to recuse himself. I happen to agree with him that he did, having participated in the campaign like he did. I think in order to maintain the impression of impartiality, which is so important to building public confidence, that I think Jeff Sessions did the right thing.
Well, we'll see what happens, and if Sessions is removed or decides to step away because of all this heat, it'll be interesting to see how colleagues like you react in the Senate. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck with the vote today. We'll be watching.
Thank you very much.
All right. Allison.
Okay, Chris, so today I introduced the world to someone very close to my heart, beyond Chris Cuomo, Amanda Gallo. She's the idealistic journalist in my debut novel, Amanda Wakes Up. I will share the backstory next.
No, I can't wait. You must tell us now.
You must wait.
Hello? No one asks us to go. Into the chaos.
Hello.
Into the heartbreak.
Welcome.
Who's that? It's the story that drives us forward.
Here we have the memo.
It's the story that needs to be told. This is why we go.
Let's go live to CNN senior international correspondent, Nima Al-Bagher.
For the Syrians and their families.